Good morning, guys. Welcome to this Wednesday, August 5th. And after one spectacular rally we had yesterday, that was nothing but a crazy one. Unusual to see the market run like that in a full trading day. And it didn't really back off a whole lot. There was a little bit of a back off at the very end, but that was the last 5 minutes. They backed down here to the 77.60s on the ES, but man, that was a crazy move to the upside. And so far in the overnight, we are holding on to the gains. The ES has extended again. They're up to 7,800. And a new nice round number for the ES, 7,800. And the Nasdaq also holding on to the gains. They're up here flirting with 30,000. So looks to me like we have at least holding on to the gains this morning. Now the news we have coming out, we had mortgage apps at 7 this morning, a little bit to the downside across the board, -2, -3% across the board on those numbers. At 8:15 we get the ADP read. Not sure if how much that really correlates to the employment situation we're going to go get on Friday, but it gives you a sense what the payrolls are doing based from the ADP report, or the ADP company processes payroll. At 8:30 we get the Treasury refunding announcement. At 9:45 we have PMI composite. 10 o'clock we get ISM services, and that's about it. Oil report at 10:30 if you follow oil. So we have news 8:15, 8:30, 9:45, and 10. So trickling out, and I think maybe the Treasury refunding announcement could be interesting. It hasn't done much, but occasionally you get the big reaction on that, depending what they're going to do. Especially now that Warsh is in there, could be an interesting take on that one. And of course, the ISM services could be a nice number coming out there at 10 o'clock. But starting off today, well, maybe before I go, we had more tech earnings come out. We had a few SpaceX reported. They did a good report, but they're down like $13 this morning. The other company I noticed, the AMD reported, but they were creeping last. Remember the last earnings report from AMD? They had this crazy move to the upside. Started off the rally right now, though. So I think AMD is getting kind of clobbered a bit. This earnings report. They were down to let's see, they're down like $45, like 8%. So AMD is getting clobbered based on their earnings. They probably spent too much or didn't have a rosy enough outlook, I guess. But so we have some mixed results on the tech stuff this morning when it comes to those. But SpaceX, I don't think it was a complete surprise. They're going to report decent numbers, but it's based on their size and the valuation, yeah, they're going to get hammered. So starting off today from the long side, no problem, no point of backing off that, at least to get started. It's pretty obvious. We have a good edge right here at the 77.60s on the ES. So I would look to buy against the support all the way down to that level. It's not actually that far down. But you can see on the F1, we are in a clear move out of the middle. We are heading higher, and there's no reason to fade this move just yet. So we're looking for a spot where they're going to cut off the buying, right? And then, stage 2 is going to be a spot when they start retracing, and we're going to look for a spot where they cut off the selling. And the third stage is coming to balance, and that will be stage 3, and then we end up building another distribution. So that's how the market moves every single time. Move out of the middle and look for a spot to cut off the buying. In this case, retracement, looking for a spot to cut off the selling, and we're coming to balance. And then we're looking for another move. But right now we are right in that first stage, extending. So far that extended again in overnight. So we're still in stage 1 when it comes to the ES at least. So I'm looking to buy weakness against that 77.85s, 77.75s, down to this ledge at 77.60s. If they start trading below 77.60s, I would look for a retracement trade. Now there's not much to lean against down here. So you come down here. This level marks the mean from this prior distribution. But you see how much range we got here to work with. So they can retrace quite a bit to the downside just because they are we don't have much to lean against. Then the only good edge I see right now is that 77.60s. Then you have the 2 overnight edges to lean against. On the way up, the only obvious potential short is against 7,800. It's a nice and round number, and that they, just by that it could potentially hold us a value as a resistance area. Now, moving this higher a little bit, you can see how much range we have to work with if they start retracing. Now, I'm not necessarily in the camp thinking that they're going to start retracing this whole thing. I'm thinking that the chances are pretty good that we may see some extensions here. So we have a mean, we have a little volume node right there, and then we are back down here to the starting point 76.70s. So this whole range from yesterday, this whole extension we had in yesterday's move, I'm not sure that I don't think that's going to get retraced, but they can certainly probe down into it. So if they start taking out that 77.60, I'm going to look for a potential short, see how far they want to retrace this move down here in this yesterday's range. And if they don't, if they never take out the 77.60s, say, well, they are staying on the long side. So we're going to buy weakness against these first levels, the 77.85s, the 75s down to the 77.60s. Rotations up again. So fairly straightforward on the ES. On the NASDAQ, you see, NASDAQ is back up here. It's not in the move out of the middle. NASDAQ is just retracing prior gain. So you think the ES is one extending here, but you see NASDAQ, it's just, oops, I'm going to fold this back together. They just retrace this whole thing, and they're back up in this upper range. They have not taken out these two resistance areas. So the upper area here, the 30,000 to 30,100s, I would say. This area needs to come out. Nice volume edge here on the side. But if that doesn't come out, we're probably just going to stay range bound on the NASDAQ for a bit. Now, there could certainly be enough momentum in this play to keep this going. So, but NASDAQ, before I start really getting excited about the long side, you need to take out this 30,000 level. That's going to set NASDAQ off potentially for another move higher. Now, the next stage after that is for NASDAQ to trade up into this distribution, the 30,500. So they got some range to go still, NASDAQ, but it's ES is the one which is making new highs and could potentially be dragging everything with it. So look on the NASDAQ, looking to buy weakness, the same as the ES to get started. We're going to buy against the 880s. Now this area is not as strong. It was a prior area. I just adjusted it a bit to align with that four little edge and the mean from that higher distribution. But it's this 29,880 with a little bit of caution and better buys against that 790s and the 750s. Below 750s, I would look for a retracement trade on the NASDAQ as well. I would give it one more level, one level below that. I'm watching that single print on I, not I single print. If they trade below that 790s and the 760s, I would look for a potential retracement trade. But initially, looking to buy against those support areas for rotations back up again. Now, if they retrace, the next level, I think the potential buying opportunity happens is down here at the 29,560, that three little edge. That was stalled for a while before they blew through that thing in the afternoon yesterday. So NASDAQ not as obvious. Now, when NASDAQ runs into the 30,000s, which is pretty darn close to, we are up here at the 980s. So here you have your 30,050s and here your 30,120s. I would say this big chunk of resistance right there. If that comes out, well, start thinking long side on the NASDAQ, at least in the short term, in a bigger way. Right now, we have a potential resistance area in front of us, and that could potentially stall that market. So I would look for short setups against the 990. It's at almost 30,000 and the 30,060s here, these two resistance areas. I would look for short setups against those because that is resistance, especially the volume eddies right here. You can see it a little bit on the F2, on the F1. You can see it's a lot more obvious. So that's your volume edge. And if that comes out, they start blowing through that thing, yeah, then I think the bulls maybe really get some momentum on a NASDAQ. Right now, it's just retracing prior action. So that's the NASDAQ to get started. Looking at the bonds. There you are. So the bond market moved higher yesterday, extended today in the overnight. So yeah, they are back up again. That's a good sign. So they were promising capital flow. They were done here probing below the key support areas. Now they're back up above it. And I'm not going to get too excited about it just yet. But there's a good chance they can potentially make something happen out of this. We'll see. But if they start trading back up in this upper range and the yield starts coming down, that would be a good sign. But initially now, the way it looks, I'm starting with a slight bias to the upside, looking to buy against that 110.04, 109.30 to 110s, down to this mode from yesterday, 109.26. So these three levels, looking to buy against those for rotations higher. Looking for shorts against the 10.14 and the 10.20s. Even if the bond market is trading higher, it usually is primarily range bound. So still, these shorts are valid. I would just be a little bit less aggressive on them, waiting for a better setup there before I would try a short. But right now, I would lean towards the long side, so hence be a little bit less aggressive on the shorts. Looking to buy against support 110.04, 110 down to the 109.26s. All right, so that's where we are on the bonds. On the cryptos are moving. Look at that. You had the crypto silver. It's back up to 62. Big moves. This is like 61 to 62, so a buck and a half on silver. That's a good range. Now silver ticks in the quarters here on the on Coinbase. Gold has been moving pretty good. I can see a gold are making a rocket move, 42 up to 42. So they made a couple of $100 on the upside. So they're moving right now. Silver and gold and oil kind of holding around 75, backed off quite a bit. And we'll see what happens in the next few days on that Iranian situation. But that's oil starts spiking, something is happening. Ethereum and Bitcoin is not doing much, just going sideways. It's still stuck based on that Clarity Act not moving in the Senate. So once that comes out, if that for some reason an announcement comes out on that Clarity Act that is going to pass, you would expect these two to start rallying pretty darn good. But right now, not so much. Not so much. So anyway, the gold and silver staying alongside on those two, at least in the short term. It looks like they're moving higher. Back to the ES and the NASDAQ. So we are sitting pretty much where we left it. ADP report came out. What was that number? ADP plus 44. They expected 70. So they are a little bit weaker than expected on the ADP report. So we'll see. Right now, we're just waiting for the next set of news to drop. But as I said, I think what's driving the market right now is maybe not so much the earnings. It could be that some of them, depending on how they come out, could certainly impact the market. But the earnings is what really driving it. And spectacular AI earnings, they put the trade back alive again. And you can see how explosive that trade is. If you're not in any of these AI stocks, you may want to start thinking about it. Because those stocks and that whole business is where the internet was in the early 90s. No, not early 2000s, so late 90s, early 2000s. That's how far back. And you can see what we're doing now on the internet. And the AI is going to blow that out of the water. Anyway, and then just for information, I use AI when I develop code as well. I can develop code so much faster than I could ever do before. And it's just using the AI to do a bunch of grunt work, putting together structures for you and all that stuff. It does it pretty good. Anyway, a little short sidetrack there, but it's going to be big. So we'll wrap it there for now, guys. Good trading. I'll see you back at 11:30 for the next update. Later.